What's going on, guys? I'm wearing the coat. It's not really that fancy because under it I've just got a normal long sleeve t-shirt on. But this is my top 10 favorite films of 2013. And I've got to lay some ground rules before I go into this, or people are going to go nuts. Okay, I have not seen Her because it's coming out in January. Do I consider it a 2013 movie? Sure. I don't consider it a 2014 movie. But I mean, I'm not going to make a whole new video and be like, actually, wait, I just saw Her. You know, I've got to redo my whole list. No, I mean, if I see Her and it's fantastic and it's in my number one or whatever, I'll just specify in like a Facebook post or whatever. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal. This right now is my top 10 favorite films of 2013. I took a while, and I haven't seen everything. I haven't seen movies like The Lone Ranger. I highly doubt that's going to bring any sort of factor into the list. But one movie that I have not seen that possibly may be in this, if I do see it, 12 Years a Slave. So that movie, I believe, is the only, that and The Butler. Now I'm going to have to tell you some honorable mentions, and I don't have much. I'm just pretty much listing these off the top of my head because I didn't write any of these down. So I'm going to go with Rush, Elysium, Pacific Rim, The Conjuring, You're Next, Captain Phillips, no, not Gravity, Star Trek Into Darkness, movie 43. No, I'm kidding. I really enjoyed Insidious Chapter 2 a lot. Mud, it was very good. I cannot get that in my top 10. That was my number one for a while, but eventually it sort of fizzled away. But enough of that. If I come up with any more, I'll let you know. This is my top 10 of 2013. Let's get into it. Now, for my number 10 is a movie that was really high on the list until we got into the December area, and it kind of fell towards the bottom, I guess. Number 10 being Terrence Malick's To the Wonder. Love this film. I thought this was a wonderful, beautiful film. I hate Tree of Life, but I love To the Wonder. Some people think that's odd. I love Terrence Malick's older work. His newer work, not so much, but I was really, really pleased with this film. I think this movie is visually, it's probably the second best visual film next to Gravity. I think the visuals, the cinematography, the score, this is probably my second favorite soundtrack of the year. The craft into this film was awesome. And the substance, a little dry. Not necessarily dry, but I mean a little empty, but other than that, I love this film. Great performances by Javier Bardem, Ben Affleck, Rachel McAdams, and Ogla, whatever her last name, the woman who we thought was going to be Wonder Woman. But yeah, number 10 is To the Wonder. Number 9 is a film that a lot of people did not like, but I loved. The Counselor, Ridley Scott's Counselor. I thought this movie was awesome. It was fun. It was interesting. Cormac McCarthy's first screenplay. I think he did awesome. You could definitely tell a novelist did the screenplay, but I mean, it was still really entertaining, and the dialogue was really, really well done. But there were some moments of, that was kind of silly or, you know, not believable at all. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought the performances were awesome. A lot of people complained about the performances they did. They said that it felt like the actors didn't even know what they were saying. I don't think that. I think Brad Pitt was awesome. My favorite is definitely Javier Bardem, which is odd because he was in my number 10 as well. But yeah, I hated Prometheus, but I loved The Counselor, and that's why it is my number 9 of 2013. Now, number 8 is also a film that people hated or loved. From a little director from Nashville, Tennessee, Harmony Korine. Number 8 is Spring Breakers. Love this movie. Probably one of my favorite movies. At the time when I saw it, I was like, this is probably going to be number 1 for a while. And it was. Then I saw more movies that I liked, that I enjoyed better. That just shows how much this year has progressed, because this was number 1. Now it's all the way to number 8. Still loved it. Love Harmony Korine. I think it's a very great art house film, and it's beautifully shot, and it's well acted by James Franco. And he should get nominated, but he probably won't. It'll just be one of those things where he should have been nominated. He won't. Same thing like Leonardo DiCaprio. He should be nominated, but he probably won't. You know, one of those things. But I love this movie. Everything about it was beautiful, and definitely check it out. So number 7 for 2013 is Gravity. Yes, I love this movie. This is the best looking film of the year. I can say that. This will get awards. You will see this a lot. It may even win Best Picture because this is in a lot of people's number 1 spots. Visually, the sound is amazing. The 3D is great. I saw the 3D. Sandra Bullock is awesome. George Clooney was funny, and he added a lot to it for the short time he was in it. But I love this movie, and I think everyone who saw it pretty much loved it as well. There were a few negative reviews, but overall it was very, very positive. I loved it. I was pretty much on a roller coaster while I was in the theater. This is the funnest movie I've seen all year, and it's visually, it's probably one of the best visual films I have seen in recent memory, and I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that. So yes, that is my number. Number 7 for the year. Number 6 is probably one of the best well-acted films of the year. Dallas Buyers Club. Matthew McConaughey, Jared Leto. These guys, they should both get nominations. They probably both will. I know Jared Leto will, and I know Matthew McConaughey will. I mean, there's no way they can't. Jared Leto should win Best Supporting Actor or Actress, if you know what I mean. But Matthew McConaughey should win Best Actor. I haven't seen a performance yet that has beaten that out. That is absolutely just a brilliant performance. And the movie all around is good, but without the performances, it would kind of fall short. But it's those performances that elevated it to the next level. And the performances are really scary. Like, honestly, they're very scary, and it'll leave you in awe, but it is a wonderful film. Number 5 is a movie that was another one of those films that was on my number 1 of the year for a while. Before Midnight, directed by Richard Linklater. And if you haven't seen the other two, you're not going to get my love for this movie, but this movie was so well crafted. The acting is brilliant, but it's the dialogue that really makes this film. It's so well written. Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy are both great. You may see Before Midnight get noms in the Oscars, and it definitely should, because this is a very powerful film. And this is the perfect way to wrap up the trilogy. If it is a trilogy, I'm not sure if it is or not, but if it is, perfect. Probably one of my favorite romance trilogies, or one of my favorite trilogies of all time, period. And that's why it's my number 5. Number 4 is a French foreign film, 3 hours long. Blue is the warmest color. This movie did something to me when I left the theaters. I loved it. This was a perfect movie. I gave this film a perfect score, and I watched it again, and it is still held up very, very good. And man, you just need to see this. The acting is flawless. The craft is great. There's something about this movie that's just that is different from everything else, and this is it's like indescribable. And even if you're against the whole what you heard happened backstage and all that, sort of, not backstage, but behind the cameras and things like that, I put that aside and watched the movie for what it is, and it is a brilliant film, and it was really close to making my top 3, but I just couldn't quite get there. But I adored this film from every 3 hours. If you're against the gay thing or not, it's you got to admit that it's a very powerful romance movie, and I loved it. Now we're in the top 3. This is getting to the wire, and I guess some of you are already throwing out guesses at what my number 1 or number 2 is, but this is the top 3. This is the big dogs. These are the movies that just affected me the most when I left the theater. These are movies that I fell in love with as soon as I left and carried on until I got home and thought about it and gave them rewatches. Number 3, Nebraska, directed by Alexander Payne. Bruce Dern should get nominated for an Oscar. Bruce Dern was so good in this film. Alexander Payne, he depicts the perfect, like, the way old people really do act perfectly. He shines in this. It's black and white. It's got such a charm to it. Will Forte is great. June Squibb also needs a nomination. She's probably the funniest thing about this movie, next to the mannerisms of the old people. This is a great comedic but also heartwarming film with great acting. There's something about this movie. I need to watch it again because I loved what I was watching. And man, this movie, you've got to check this one out when it comes out on Blu-ray, or if you have not seen it, you need to check it out. If you love film, if you love filmmaking, Nebraska is awesome. Now we're down to the top 2, number 2 and number 1. It's been before I get into these last two, I just want to say it's been a really good year. Not as good as last year, but it was what I liked about so much about this year was the performances, and it's what really set the bar for December. I was like, man, we've got a lot to beat in December when it comes to performances, and luckily this one almost did it for me. Not completely. My number 2 is The Wolf of Wall Street. I love this movie. It was 3 hours long, just like Blue's the Warmest Color. I wasn't expecting it to be so high on my list, number 2, but it was fun. It was engaging. It fizzles towards the end a little bit. It sort of loses steam, as I like to say it, but it's a ride. It's wild. It's probably Martin Scorsese's craziest film, but it's so much fun. Leo does awesome. He needs to get a nomination. Like I said, I've said that about 10 times in this review, in this video, but I mean, he really does deserve it because he went all out. You could tell this is such a great film, and I loved watching it. It was so much fun, but it was also disturbing at the same time, and it's not confusing either. It didn't go the American Hustle route, where I was confused throughout the whole thing, but I knew everything that was going on throughout the whole movie while I was having a fun time, and it was just really odd to see these things take place, and it made me want to go on Wikipedia and look up Jordan Belfort and what all happened to him. But it's a very interesting story, and I suggest you check it out because It's one of the greatest of 2013. Now time for my number one film of 2013. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to close this off with Inside Llewyn Davis. Love this movie from start to finish. As soon as it ended, I was like, this is the best. I was like, this is a perfect movie. The Coen brothers return. Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, Justin Timberlake, Garrett Hedlund, and John Goodman all come and make this great music film about the folk music industry, and it's all about character progression and character study, and Oscar Isaac's character, Llewyn Davis, and what he goes through. And it's touching, it's charming in an odd way. I love the way it was made. It's sort of like grayish, black and whitish sort. There's not a lot of color at all, I'll just put it that way. And this movie left me like in awe. Like going home, I could not stop thinking about it. This movie stayed with me for a long time, and it's so wonderful. And the Coen brothers, this is probably my favorite Coen brother film because it was so well crafted, but it also had some great substance in there also. It's hilarious too, but the characters never turn into like cartoon-like. It all feels real, and the music is outstanding. This is definitely my favorite like soundtrack of the year. I love this movie from start to finish, and I couldn't think of anything wrong with it because I was engaged, I was invested. I just love this movie. I was in awe. It is perfect. Coen brothers knocked it out of the park once again. So I've got my list here. I'm going to read you off my 10 through 1 more time just so you can get a shortened version of it. Number 10 is To the Wonder, 9 is The Counselor, Spring Breakers, Gravity, Dallas Buyers Club, Before Midnight, Blue is the Warmest Color, Nebraska, The Wolf of Wall Street, and Inside Llewyn Davis. It's been a really good year. I'm excited for next year. There's a lot of great films coming out, and I want to thank you guys for being on my channel. I have not made it a year yet on YouTube, but we're going to get there, and we're going to make it through it. And if you want to see some of my reviews that I didn't do on video, like I didn't review Spring Breakers on camera or To the Wonder, I have those. I used to type reviews. I never used to do video reviews, but I used to type reviews. I'll have the link down there. You can go see my reviews on those. It's all typed. But I'll also have the links to all the other reviews down there in the video, all that stuff in the description. And make sure you like this video. And what are your top 10 favorite films of 2013? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe, do all that good stuff. And as always, I'm the Modern Film Critic, signing off in 2013.